I'm Denny Wildman. Today I'm traveling in Illinois. I'm working with the fellows from Agri-Energy, Princeton, Illinois. And I saw some very interesting things here of some work that they had introduced with their chemistry. It's a biological called SP1. We were blending it a year ago with some of the Stoller products, and I saw some synergy between the two. I've been working with Dean Crane, who's out in the field currently right now digging some more samples. But they have done a very good project here on soybeans, and as many of you know, the soybean yields have been somewhat stagnant. And right now we're standing in front of a project the Agri-Energy put out with a treatment that I would consider a 3 to 5 bushel difference in a soybean grower's program. We did start with an in-furrow on many of these different projects that we have laid out here. There's better than 10 different programs laid out with different steps put in that make it simple for a grower to evaluate what do they want to do, what fits their program. Here we have a July 2nd foliar. This is where we were looking at an early spray to get going on the beans, and then we'll quit, nothing more, compared to nothing, which would be just a standard grower's program. And one of the things that we see in crop production is we don't pay enough attention to this plant. And we see that, you know, the lower leaves are beginning to decline. And the lower leaves are really what is going on with the crop. What's going on with the roots? How many active hairlets do we have? When you notice your leaves starting to fall apart, generally speaking, crop's roots are falling apart. They're changing. There's less active nodules. These roots here have more nodules near the trunk than they do out on the lateral rooting area. But these plants here that have had that treatment have a greener internode area. They have a darker nodal area, larger in diameter than the controls. And the plant is a little less stringy, meaning that there's more lateral branches going on, and these internode areas are growing shorter or are not growing out as long. To have this is very important. A thing that I learned a year ago from a man by the name of Don Stork, who I've worked with numerous years, taught me about pulling flowers. And I didn't realize how important it was until I started applying Don Stork's program a year ago. And I implemented it this year, looking at how strong the flower was, how much energy's in that node. And a lot of times you'll grab a hold of a flower and it won't even take, and you can see how much more stringy this plant is, it won't even take but a short period of time, and that flower just pulls right off in your fingers. And this bud here happens to be pretty good. A lot of them, though, you notice that the flower is less colorful, probably less energy there. What's our goal? Is our goal to grow a soybean plant with a long internode growing wood? Is that our program? Or is our program to provide energy in this internode area? And the stronger that node, the less flowers drop. The stronger that node, the more 3 bean pods we have and the less single bean pods we have. And so this flower and what goes on here just come off so easy. And so here we have a plant that's trying to grow quite rank. It's very straight. There's very little internodal bending to it. And if you look at that plant that has a lot of bend to the internodes, generally you have more storage in here, where this plant's very weak. Another thing that's of value, when you're looking at soybeans, chew on them. You know, I'm kind of getting, I've still got a lot more years, but I've got a lot of students that I'm working with. And one student's chewing on several days ago, he was chewing on the stems. And he says, man, that has some sugar in it. chewed down here, still in a very active part of the plant, a lot of leaf growth. He pulled this off and began to chew on it, and he says, that's all full of starch. And as we looked at the node where he pulled it from, it was very weak. How many of us really go out and study the soybean plant and think about what's going on within this plant and how it's developing? And this is what the agri-energy people are doing. They're putting together a program where they're going to have some field days later in the season. You need to know how you got what you got. Because if you're going to be repetitive in building a higher yield soybean program, you just can't hope. You have to know. Thank you.